Good evening, everyone. My name is Cherish. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I currently teach pre-K 4 out of Jersey City, New Jersey, for the last 2 years, and I'm looking forward to taking this course with you all. So our first question was to share our background and our experiences, including the scope and nature of our interactions with young learners' literacy development. From my personal experience, I personalize my schedule to devote 2 days of the week to literacy, to make sure that each week we are focusing on that area of development. We touch on things from alphabet knowledge, alphabetic sounds, rhyming words, short sight words, things like that. So the second question was to discuss perceptions of the role of caregivers and educators in promoting early literacy skills in children through birth in the ages of 5. I kind of jotted down some things that work in the classroom for myself. Excuse me. And the first one was that I capture children's interests before I read them a story. That's another thing also. I make sure that daily I devote time to reading, whether it's allowing them to just grab a book, whether it's to look at the pictures or just identify letters or small sight words that are in the classroom, that we've seen in the classroom, or whether I'm reading a story, which we also do every day. It's called our read aloud time. And before I do read a story, I always make sure that I get the children excited about reading. It shouldn't be like a drag for them. You always want to make sure that you get the children excited before you even turn the pages in the book. Whether it's to look at the cover page of the story to figure out what do they think would be going on in the story, or words that they might know on the cover of the book. That usually gets them engaged. Another thing that I like to do is introduce vocabulary during read aloud time. Even rather than introducing it, most times I've seen that they ask what a word means, and then that's a good discussion. It gets them curious about new words, and similarly to that, I also include in the classroom something like a word wall, but in our classroom it's called juicy words, and it's words that it's like sight words or just new vocabulary words weekly, that I like to implement into the classroom. What else do I do? One second, I had to write this stuff down. I also highlight the children's favorite books, and I'll hear them say it very often. Oh, that's my favorite book. That's my favorite book. So those books that I do see that they're more interested in, I do put them in the front of our bookshelf, so that it's easy for them to, gain access to. Because if they're interested in a book, they may be interested in, they kind of get used to, if they read it a lot, they'll get used to what happens in the story. So after looking at the pictures and knowing what comes next is looking at the letters, next is looking at small words, especially if they pointed it out, especially if they ask about a word, they'll say, oh, that's the word, right? So it's kind of just scaffolding the transition from letter sounds to small words, and then eventually, as they grow and develop, it'll become larger words. Let me see. We do read in smaller groups, we read in larger groups, and just a lot of implementation of reading. What else do I do in the classroom? I think that's about all. Not all, but those are the biggest things for me. I try to put a big emphasis on reading, because it's very, I know it's cliche to say, but it's very fundamental. Talk to just talking to them, introducing new words as you talk to them, and if they use a larger word for their age group, um, which sometimes they do, you kind of want to build upon it and eventually give them the definition to the word. If they didn't actually know what it meant before, maybe they heard it from a parent or a brother or sister, someone where they just heard the word. You want to make sure that they kind of know what that means and begin to know what it means. So that's all for me. I hope that you guys enjoyed my video, and have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.